Welcome to New York's #2 sports show. The Giants lose to the Los Angeles Rams 26-25 in what was a pretty crazy game. A game the Rams needed to win in order to further ensure their chance of making the playoffs, which with this win and based on the way things are looking, the Rams should be able to get in. But the Rams didn't look all that great, and I'm very relieved the Giants lost, especially considering some things that happened in other games in the NFL. But this game had a little bit of everything, and the Rams never trailed. The Giants kept on clawing their way back, getting close, but couldn't quite get it done. Tyrod Taylor was mostly very good. He threw for 319 yards. He even ran for 40. He did make some mistakes, for sure. And the Giants made some mistakes as well, but Stafford was not all that great. I mean, for him, the stat line is kind of similar to Tyrod's. Kyren Williams had 3 rushing touchdowns. Puka Nacua made one really big play on a bad play by Adoree Jackson. Gunnar Olszewski, which this could have been like basically the play that won the game for the Giants, gets a 94-yard punt return for a touchdown with less than 4 minutes to go in the game. Mason Crosby misses a field goal at the end of the game. He was actually on the Rams roster this season. So, again, I had a whole lot of everything. I am very pleased that they lost. And I guess just thinking ahead to next week, it would just be, and this is me thinking pessimistically, but it would be so typical for the Eagles to fuck the Giants over once more. Because now you look at the draft, and with Arizona knocked off the Eagles today, which is kind of crazy. And therefore, there is a world in which the Giants could land as high as the #2 slot in the draft. I don't think that's going to happen. But if the Giants just lose to the Eagles and nothing else, I'm pretty sure now, obviously, there's different things as far as strength of schedule is concerned, but I'm almost certain that if the Giants just lose to the Eagles, they'll finish in 5th. But then there's 3 games to think about. Cardinals home against the Seahawks. Not crazy the Cardinals could win that game. Commanders home against the Cowboys. Don't love those chances for the Commanders, but again, I've seen crazier things. And then Patriots home against the Jets. In fact, I think the Patriots are probably going to be a small favorite in that game. So, it's really going to be pretty important to lose that Eagle game, but the Eagles, for them, there's meaning to this game. The NFC East is still on the line, but the Cowboys control their destiny. After last night, their kind of crazy, a win that they shouldn't have really had, thanks to really poor officiating in that Lions-Cowboys game. But the Eagles now cannot be the 1 seed. The Niners locked up the 1 spot. So it's now a matter of they're basically hoping that the Cowboys will lose to the Commanders, but maybe it's more the Eagles just want to get right because they've been so poor. But the Giants came close to beating them last week. Let's just see. We'll focus on that, more so next week. But I'm just saying, don't expect at all this to be some rout by the Eagles. The Giants have been playing very competitively down the stretch. They have not mailed it in or packed it in at all. There was one more thing I wanted to mention on that. Also, and that is, we don't know yet what the schedule looks like next week. So that the NFL tries the best they can so that games are scheduled on that last week where there isn't an uncompetitive, where the competitive balance is where it should be. Now, sometimes they don't always get it right, but we will see. There is a world in which the Giants-Eagles could be one of those Saturday games. That's not out of the question to me, but we'll see. We don't know as of now what that will be. We'll probably find out that schedule. And I'm recording this, late afternoon here. Maybe later tonight or tomorrow we'll find out the Week 18 schedule. But Rams-Giants, like I said, 26-25. This had a bit of everything. Looking at the team stats, time of possession was really close. Total yards was really close. There isn't a whole lot to... turnovers, the Giants won the turnover battle 3-1. So that's been a big thing for them. When they've had success, it's been turnovers and key ones as well. And Dane Belton actually was the recipient of 2 of them. Or was it more? Actually, no, sorry. No, I think it was more than that. It was 3. Dane Belton had 2 interceptions and a fumble recovery. So if nothing else, so Jason Pinnock leaves the game with, I believe it was a foot injury. In my opinion, I think that regardless of how he is, you may as well just shut him down with 1 game to go. But Dane Belton, who has not been I wouldn't say he's been anywhere near great in his 2 years in the NFL, but he has had a knack for the ball. He has been able to get turnovers. That is definitely been noticeable for him, whether that be preseason, regular season, he's done that. And so definitely props to him for being involved in 3 turnovers just by himself. So Saquon Barkley did not do a whole hell of a lot in this game, really on rushing or receiving. Darius Slayton with another bomb play from Tyrod. He had an 80-yard touchdown. Wan'Dale Robinson was pretty heavily involved. He had a 24-yard run for a score. Went 6 for 55. Darren Waller was in the mix a bit, 5 for 51. Another pretty big drop by Waller as well. That's been a thing for him. It feels like with Waller, the throw has to be almost right on target. If it's not, he won't come up with it. Jalen Hyatt had a chance for a big game, but whether that be because of some penalties or a drop, wasn't able to quite get that. But the Giants did a really good job. Cooper Kupp did not do a whole lot, and Nacua, ends up having a big game really thanks to that poor play by Adoree Jackson, which leads to an 80-yard reception for Nacua. It's interesting. You have an 80-yard reception for Nacua, 80-yard reception for Slayton. You had that 94-yard touchdown for Olszewski. Again, this was a pretty nuts game that I would be a lot more distraught and upset if the Giants had won this game. And the thing is that, again, with Arizona winning, that avenue is now opened up. So let's just see how that all unfolds. But let's talk about this game. So Rams get the ball first. They do move the ball a bit. And I should mention before going into this that the Giants really messed up on their last drive of the game. That would be more of a conversation point for sure if, it didn't kind of go the way I wanted this to go. I'd be talking about that more. If I wanted the Giants to win, that was handled poorly. We'll lead into that, but that's a big story of this actual game. Rams are moving the ball pretty well. They get the ball to Giant territory. A little bit of Tyler Higbee, Demarcus Robinson. Both those guys had some pretty good games. But what ends up happening where things go wrong for the Rams, a couple of drops that were initially called catches on the field, a couple of Giant challenges that win on the first drive, which is, you don't see that too often, where Demarcus Robinson and Puka Nacua both, it appeared as if maybe they caught the ball, but they didn't. And on that last Nacua one, that was actually a 4th and 3. So the Rams go for a 4th and 3, originally ruled a first down, but incomplete. So now the Giants get the ball. The Giants do go 3 and out on their first drive. And that was the third down was a play where Jalen Hyatt, the completion could have been made, but wasn't. I thought maybe the Ram defender was going to possibly intercept it. He didn't, and maybe that threw Hyatt off. So the Rams get the ball back, and they score on this drive. And kind of methodical. Tyler Higbee was kind of the one that did the most on this drive, but it ends up in a Kyren Williams touchdown. The first of 3 touchdowns for Kyren Williams. It's a 4-yard score, and it gives the Rams a 7-0 lead. Let me talk about now, because I may not get to it later on, the injuries. And I mentioned Jason Pinnock, but Tyree Phillips got hurt, the right tackle, got hurt early in this game with a knee injury. Came back and then had a really, really bad knee injury at the end. Cart came on the field. It didn't look good. And that's too bad because Tyree Phillips, I think, has been serviceable at right tackle. So feel bad for him. We probably won't get good news there, and hopefully he recovers by the start of next season, which then segues me to Evan Neal. He is officially out for the season. I think it's an ankle. It's going to be ankle surgery. I'm not sure if it was knee or ankle. I think ankle. I have to think he's going to be a bust for the Giants. I don't see it any other way. That was just a bad 7th pick. And sure, injuries are part of the equation, and you can defend him for that, but it's just been a disastrous first 2 seasons for Evan Neal. We'll see what next year brings, but not a whole lot of optimism from me on Evan Neal. And then also, Deonte Banks did not play this game. Deonte Banks, with a shoulder injury sustained last game, was out. And Nick McLeod took his spot and looked pretty good. And it's kind of funny. It shows how far Trey Hawkins has fallen. Because Trey Hawkins was so good coming out of training camp and out of preseason that they moved Adoree Jackson to to slot corner. And Trey Hawkins, has really fallen way down the depth chart. And Nick McLeod is ahead of him. So taking care of those injuries, Giants have the ball. And there is a 3rd down conversion to Wan'Dale Robinson. We go to the second quarter. The Giants had a lot of 1st and 20s and were still able to get stuff done. Again, the Ram defense it's not horrible. It's got Aaron Donald. It's not league worst, but it is not really very good. And you get a Taylor to Hyatt play for 18 yards and then an end around play for Wan'Dale Robinson, a 24-yard touchdown. And Wan'Dale, it's been a good year for him. After missing, the first few games, he's really done a nice job. So that ties it up at 7. Then the Rams, they do punt. Bobby Okereke gets a sack on this drive. The Giants get the ball back. They go 3 and out. Tyrod Taylor was sacked on this drive. Then the Rams have the ball, and just a bad throw by Stafford is intercepted by Dane Belton. So now the Giants get the ball back, but they're not able to take advantage, as on a 4th and 1, Tyrod Taylor, the snap, the snap was botched. And so Taylor they recover it, but they don't get the first down. So they turn it over on downs. Rams get the ball here with pretty good field position, and they put up together a pretty good drive, and it ends in a Cooper Kupp touchdown. A 5-yard touchdown from Stafford to Kupp makes it 14-7 Rams. And now the Giants have the ball, but Tyrod Taylor makes a mistake. He throws an interception intended for Darius Slayton and intercepted by Fuller. So now you're thinking, all right, Rams at worst will be up 7 going into the half. Not so fast, as Demarcus Robinson, after a nice 16-yard reception, Adoree Jackson bats the ball away. Dane Belton recovers it. Now the Giants have the ball late in the half, and thanks to a 20-yard play to Wan'Dale Robinson, and that got them into good enough field goal range for Mason Crosby. Now, the first attempt was blocked. Ben Skowronek blocks the first attempt, but they call a penalty on Skowronek for leaping. It's the rule. The rule is the rule, but it's a dumb rule. I understand, if you use the opposition to sort of lift yourself up, but I don't know. This one didn't make a whole lot of sense to me. So it gives Crosby another chance, and he makes this one from 31 yards out. So the Rams have a 14-10 lead going to the second half. Giants have the ball to start the second half, and they're able to get a Darren Waller 18-yard catch. But other than that, not a whole lot there. Tyrod Taylor was sacked a couple times on this drive, and Jamie Gillen punts it away back to the Rams. And this is where, on a 3rd down play, Nacua makes the catch, which was good for first down, but then a terrible job by Adoree Jackson not pushing him out of bounds. And so Nacua runs it all the way down to the 2. And then from the 2, Kyren Williams punches it in. But Lucas Havrisik, the kicker for the Rams, misses the PAT. So instead of an 11-point game, it's 10. Giants have the ball now. We're in the 3rd quarter. And they do get a first down, but nothing more than that. They punt it away. Then the Rams go 3 and out. That includes a Jihad Ward sack. So now the Giants get the ball back down by 10. Gunnar Olszewski makes a really bad play. It's funny, he makes up later on for what was a bad mistake here. He lets the ball go over his head, picks it up, loses yards. So the Giants have bad field position, but they're able to get out of it. 3rd and 10 at their own 9, Taylor to Waller for 11 yards, and then an 80-yard bomb touchdown from Taylor to Slayton. But Crosby misses the extra point. Okay, so now we're evened up on missed extra points, so I guess what's fair, what's even is even, but we'll get back to that in a moment. So it's 20-16 Rams. Now, another bad play by Matthew Stafford on a 1st and 10 from his own 37, an interception to Dane Belton. So now the Giants have good field position down by 4. However, they are unable to take advantage of that opportunity. Even though they came close, there were some penalties in the mix here. And when it's all said and done, they settle for a Mason Crosby 32-yard field goal, which makes it 20-19. Then the Rams, in very quick, short order, score a touchdown. Now, Demarcus Robinson has a 37-yard catch. There was a holding penalty on Cordell Flott, and then a 28-yard rushing touchdown for Kyren Williams. But Havrisik misses the extra point again. So that's 2 missed extra points for Havrisik. Should have made it an 8-point game. Instead, it's only 7. Giants have the ball now. We're in the fourth quarter. Giants are down by 7. Wan'Dale Robinson, 11-yard catch. You thought there was a Hyatt 47-yard completion. However, Daniel Bellinger called for offensive holding, and that kind of set them back, but not too much, as they were able to overcome that pretty quickly on plays to Slayton and Hodgins. It moves into Ram territory. There was a Tyrod Taylor Tyrod Taylor was sacked. Ultimately, they end up in a 4th-and-1 situation after Daniel Bellinger makes an 18-yard catch and came close to getting a first down. Taylor to Hyatt loses a yard on 4th-and-1. So not a great play there all the way around. Dabo was not thrilled with Hyatt, I guess, in the route he ran. And so the Giants turn it over on downs. But the Giants defense does the job and has the Rams go 3 and out. So now the Giants get the ball back. And on this Giant drive, they don't do a whole lot with it. They do get a first down, but then a John Michael Schmitz holding penalty sets them back into the point where they are unable to do anything from there. So now the Rams get the ball back, and they go 3 and out. No, sorry, Nacua had a 15-yard run to start it, but then they have to punt. And this was a sack by Okereke and Nunez Roches. So Nunez Roches, who missed last game with injury, he was back. So the Rams punted away, and Gunnar Olszewski gets a 94-yard punt return touchdown, which is pretty crazy. Like, it looked like he was dead to rights, and a missed tackle by the Rams, probably at like the Giants' 20-yard line or so. He spins out of it and takes it to the house. He is a very good, he is a pretty talented punt returner. Not without his faults, but that was impressive. So the Giants elect to go to tie it up, which I wasn't sure what they would do. They don't go for 2. However, the Rams jump offside on the PAT. So now the Giants elect to go for 2. And this is where the Giants had a very easy chance to take the lead here. Tyrod Taylor could have either thrown it to Barkley accurately or just taken it himself, and his indecision leads to him throwing it a little bit off course to Saquon, incomplete. Like, if I was rooting for the Giants, I would have been furious. But either way, a missed opportunity for the Giants there. But the game wasn't over. Not even close to over. As the Rams get the ball back, and they go 3 and out. And so the Giants get the ball back with pretty good field position, although Darnay Holmes does, he's called for offensive holding on the punt return by Olszewski. So the Giants, with no timeouts left, only down by 1, 1 minute and 8 seconds to go, have the ball at their own 35. And on the second play, with about a minute left, Tyrod Taylor scrambles for 31 yards to the Ram 34. The Giants decide to spike it, which that could be argued there. Like, they probably should have tried to run a play and not waste it down. Like, that was handled poorly, but what was even worse for them was a 2nd and 10 Saquon Barkley negative 2-yard run. There was so much success either passing it or Tyrod scrambling. The runs were not working. And Mason Crosby's range is not that good. Like, it's noticeably worse, even than, let's say, like Randy Bullock. Like, Mason Crosby, you'll see what ends up happening. But yeah, that was a mistake. The Rams then call a timeout. But they're thinking, all right, just in case the Crosby makes it, now maybe the Rams will still have time to come back themselves. And then on the 3rd and 12, incomplete from Tyrod Taylor to Wan'Dale Robinson. So now the Giants have no choice at that point. On 4th and 12, they got to go for the long Mason Crosby field goal, 54 yards. And it ends up going wide left. The field goal is no good. Did it have the distance? Maybe. If it wasn't wide, it would have been close. But the Rams pull out the much-needed win. They win 26-25. This was, again, one of the crazier games that I can remember. And the Rams likely, barring unforeseen events, will make the playoffs in large part thanks to this win. So like I said, the Giants lose. They are now 5-11. And I can't tell you how important it is next week for the Giants to lose to the Eagles. And I'm not so sure that is going to necessarily happen. The Eagles have been playing very poorly. Their motivation maybe isn't quite as strong as originally thought. It's not dead, right? I mean, they're not going to rest players, but we'll see. The Giants almost beat the Eagles last week. You know they're hungry to beat them, so we'll see. We shall see. If the Eagles beat the Giants, then the worst the Giants' first-round pick would be 5, with a legitimate chance to maybe move up to like 3 or 4. There is a lot on the line next week, and we'll find out what the schedule is pretty shortly. Certainly no less than the next 24 hours, so we'll see. But Giants had an opportunity to knock off a team that was right in the hunt. They were unable to do so. The comeback and the rally fall short as the Rams defeat the New York Giants 26-25.